What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Beardy here, just bringing you another little brief warning at the beginning of this video. The audio quality on my voice has been vastly improved in this video. However, the audio quality of my guest's microphone did cut out every now and then and bleep and bloop and hiss, so I do apologise for that. However, you can look forward to seeing these every Wednesday now, so stick around for that. Or you can come and join us at the live recording every Saturday night at about 11 my time, so 11 GMT. Pretty much because most of my friends that do this are American. So, there's your warning. There's your intro. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the host with the most, but you can't butter him on some toast. He's your British host, Captain Beardy. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the third episode, I do believe. I hope that's right, the third episode of Random Encounters. Do not worry about the child or anything in the background. That's just our crazy crackpot guest with us today. But before we get into it, there are some stuff that I want to cover that I managed to find on Bethesda.net, which is actually bloody impressive. So, since Nuclear Winter dropped, when I picked up these figures, there has been 88,882 deaths caused by creatures in Nuclear Winter. So that's people dying to things like Scorch Beasts and the dogs, which is really kind of weird if you think about it, because they don't really do a lot of damage, and 88,882 people have died to it. So that's just, you know, what the fuck? Seriously, how have people died to this much stuff? We've had 67,648 fall to their deaths. That one's completely that one's understandable because I've fallen to my death. We've had over 425,000 punches thrown. So every time people at the beginning, I'm trying to read my own writing, it's fucking terrible. But every time at the beginning of a session, people have been popping in and out and just punching you in the face. Yeah, they've thrown over almost 500,000 punches. That's fucking crazy. The most popular weapon, and I'm happy that this is the most popular weapon, but the most popular weapon, of course, is the combat shotgun, the beauty that is the combat shotgun. Who doesn't love a good combat shotgun? Because if you didn't, I'd have to kill you. The average death per nuke is 3, which is weird, because every time I've dropped a nuke, it's normally been, I don't know, what, 5? Roughly? So I guess that rounds out.
It's about like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I guess that. And of course, the current record from when I got my figures, but the most deaths caused from a single nuke is 18. Now, someone's got to have dropped that pretty damn fucking quick to get 18 people, because by the time the nuke drops at the end for me, there's only about 10 people left, maybe 7, depending on the team size. So that is actually quite interesting, and with the fact that there is a new patch coming in pretty damn soon, they are re-enabling the quests for Nuclear Winter. There used to be some daily quests in Nuclear Winter that they turned off for some reason. It wasn't stated, which was kind of weird. But they will be coming back, which is hunky-dory, and everything's going to be peachy and all that kind of fun shit. But today, after doing my shitty little monologue like that, I will be joined in a second by the one, the only, Mr. Dangerous Dylan, because he's a crazy guy, and he's got some theory. I'm doing air quotes, but he has theories on on some fucking crazy shit, man. So go ahead, put your hands together if you could clap in game. I doubt you can clap in game. Nope. So everybody, I'm just gonna doodle-doodle-doo. Bring out Dylan. Dylan, come and join me on. Well, you have a choice between the sofa or the couch. It's the same thing. But yes, come and join me. We're going to talk about these crackpot theories that you've got, because who doesn't want to listen to a crazy person?
Oh, what's going on, guys?
I am doing good. How are you doing? I can hear you.
Going? I can't hear
Oh,
you.
they're not really much of an interactive audience. Pretty funny.
Fun.
Oh, there we go. Someone, woo, yeah. So, you have some crackpot theories for me. Do you want to lay down possibly the least crackpot of your crackpot theories about Fallout 76 and Bethesda and everything that's just fucking in your tinfoil suit, as it were?
Alright, well, here's something that I think if you think about it, if you really think about it, you might be able to get behind. So, I'm going to talk about the tie-in between Fallout 76 and the Elder Scrolls 6, which you know is coming eventually someday.
For the people that didn't get that because your microphone's a little bit janky, he's going to talk about the... He's a synth, get him! Yeah, we're going to talk about the connection between, what was that, Fallout 76 and the Elder Scrolls, which is quite an interesting thing to try and bridge the gap between. What kind of crazy crackpot theory have you got that links these things together?
Well, it's not a, is my microphone working better now?
It's a little bit better, yes it is.
Right. It's not a lore connection, it's more what's going on at Bethesda itself.
Oh, right, so you're talking about the production of the game as well.
So,
right.
I'm going to start off by going a couple years back, before they had even really said, when they were still going on Twitter and saying, like, okay guys, yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 is going to happen eventually, but nothing else. And that was all anybody knew. Well, a couple years back, they was on Twitter and they said something along the lines of, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm sure anyone could find it if they dug. Elder Scrolls 6 will be coming eventually, and when it does, it will feature things that no one even thinks are possible. You know, some generic corporate type thing like that.
Just a way to get people hooked and interested. Yeah, everyone does it.
Well, at the time, it was when VR was just getting really big, so people saw that and were like, oh my god, it's going to be all VR, blah, 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 being stupid.
Yeah, no, well, an entire VR game set in Elder Scrolls would probably be extremely shit. Yeah,
but see, that's where I'm getting to what I believe is actually going on here. Well, let's just cut chase here. When the day they announced Fallout 76, I immediately looked over and said, oh my god, okay, I see what they're doing. They are building the framework. They are building the framework for multiplayer Elder Scrolls.
Right. Is that because Fallout 76 is multiplayer?
So what they've done with 76 is they've put all the work into separating the game engine from the players, or essentially making the game engine compatible online.
Right, now, I'm with you so far.
Now, we know that they're going to be using the same engine for the Elder Scrolls 6.
Are they? I thought they were building a completely different engine.
Unless I'm wrong. Everything I've seen has said they're using the same engine, and I've seen a lot of people freaking out, wondering about, hey, you know what? Even if I'm wrong, though, it doesn't change my mind.
No, that's true. But I thought when they announced the Elder Scrolls 6 was being made, I'm pretty sure they mentioned that they'd either created a new game engine from the ground up, or had transferred over to a more stable version of a game engine that wouldn't cause Bethesda to basically make a Bethesda game. But I might be wrong, because it was almost a year and a bit ago now. It would have been last E3, was it, when they announced the Elder Scrolls stuff? So
yeah, well, last E3 they didn't even really say anything. They just said, here's a 10-second video.
Yeah, they had like that big sweeping valley kind of shot. Yeah, I remember that.
Which was pretty exciting, not gonna lie, but...
Yeah, but still, it didn't really show off much. So, so far, what I've managed to gather from your theory is that by building Fallout 76, what they're actually doing is figuring out a way to take the Elder Scrolls and make it into a multiplayer game.
They're figuring out how to take all of the essentially, yeah, they're forcing us into it. If they put together a game that said, hey, if you want to play this, then you have to take part in our testing, which is essentially what they're doing. They know it's going to be crap. They know there's going to be all kinds of... let me rephrase that. The game's not crap. This game's awesome.
This game is awesome.
They know that there's going to be a lot of technical issues, and they also know that if they just said, hey, if you want to, we're going to come out with a new game, or we're going to add a multiplayer Fallout 4, we're going to add a multiplayer to it, people wouldn't do it. But
no,
they know
well,
if people would do it some, but they wouldn't get the amount of player testing that they need to iron out everything and get it working smoothly enough to apply the same technology to the Elder Scrolls.
And we've seen how much they love Skyrim.
Yeah, what I found weird when they announced Fallout 76 was the fact that everybody thought Fallout 76 was going to be a game built completely from scratch, still using the Fallout engine from Fallout 4, but built completely and utterly from scratch to tell, you know, this interesting story. And what they didn't really pick up on, which is why everybody got really angry at it, was the fact that Fallout 76 is just a cancelled game mode for Fallout 4, and instead of just leaving it inside the universe of Fallout, but you know, the time frame of Fallout 4, they moved it into, you know, Appalachia and changed the time, and so it was kind of weird that people started getting pissy and all that kind of stuff over the release of Fallout 76. But I mean, it sounds like you're trying to say that the entire reason that Fallout 76 even exists is because they're trying to kind of matrix the way into having a better multiplayer platform framework to bring the Elder Scrolls in on.
That is exactly what I'm trying to say.
That's crazy. That is in fact a crazy thing, because admittedly it does make sense from a what's the kind of standpoint I'm thinking of, from a from a company standpoint it makes sense. You know, build something, test it out, see if the thing you really want to do, which would be the Elder Scrolls, would function better with it tested. Test it by releasing Fallout 76 basically, and then go, right, this is what we need to fix, and then let's implement it into, you know, it makes sense, but at the same time it just sounds fucking crazy, man.
Oh, hey, how often does Bethesda do shit that's fucking crazy?
I was about to say not that often, but
it's like,
yeah,
you know,
pretty damn often.
Technically, like, they bought this IP, so it could stand to reason that they care about it a little bit less. So they're willing to risk it on this kind of a game as opposed to their baby fucking Elder Scrolls and shit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if any of you guys watched that most recent interview with Todd Howard that was, maybe not, it's not the most recent, now that E3 just happened. It was about a week before E3, but he went on for a while talking about how Elder Scrolls is his baby. Everything.
Fucking
it was
really?
A lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to me that they'll kind of use Fallout to test things more before.
Yeah, because they're okay with an item that they don't.
Even though you're going really Robotronic on me right now, you are seriously, you're going a little bit squeaky on me with your microphone. But it is kind of weird that Todd Howard will come out and say that Elder Scrolls is his baby. That's just weird. I mean,
okay, no, don't.
I mean, you know, I understand what you mean.
Like it belongs to him. It's like he was saying that he views it as something that's special to him.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that, because if I was in charge of, well, not in charge of Bethesda, but if I was a lead at Bethesda on Fallout in, like, maybe the art department or something, I would think that Fallout is, you know, if I had the choice between Fallout or the Elder Scrolls, I'd choose Fallout any day. It's a more interesting premise, I think. Instead of, you know, swords and bows and arrows and magic is cool, but I prefer, you know, walking around with a shoulder-mounted tactical nuclear launcher. It's just way more fun.
Science,
bitch. Yeah, just walk around with science in the shit out of everything.
Yeah, man,
yeah, no,
there's fun in all of it, man. But
I still find it weird that you think that they are using Fallout 76 as a platform to build it's basically, this is Matrix version 1.0, and they're using it to build a better Matrix, like all the different Matrices that they talk about in the Matrix movie, which is kind of weird.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it. You know, with how much build-up and anticipation for Elder Scrolls 6, with how much people have been, frankly, going crazy over it.
Yeah.
they're gonna do everything they can to deliver the best quality possible.
They
If that
yeah.
means taking a loved franchise and using it to create something incredible, okay, there might be some hiccups at the start, but we're going to stick with it, as we've seen, and make
to be
something
honest,
awesome.
It sounds like it feels like it won't work out for them, because even though they will be using 76 as, this base work to build a better game with the Elder Scrolls, they've kind of lost a lot of the street cred by doing the thing that Bethesda does most, which is fucking up. So
yeah, well, and that's why they're going to wait at least probably 2 years until the public perception has completely shifted. I mean, they're going to play the long marketing game. They're already doing it, but they're not even going to announce anything until they have everything running great,
ironed out and everything. But at the minute, I think public opinion is already changing towards the fact that Fallout 76 is not a shit game, and it's not a great game, but it's a fun game to play. I think that's what they're getting at the minute, because
potential.
It does. But everybody on Reddit who got the game, well, everybody recently who played the free week trial, and you're going Robotronic on me again, but everybody who got the free trial, a lot of people on Reddit who, they posted saying it was really good. I liked it. I don't know why everybody was saying it was shit. It's really good. So hopefully public opinion is swaying more towards that the game is not massively successful and groundbreaking and all this kind of stuff, but is at least how we perceive it, which is a fun game to play and a good game. And sure, it's got its problems, but it's the first of its kind that Bethesda have ever done, so cut them some slack.
Yeah, and in between now, where we are right now, and Elder Scrolls 6, we're gonna have No Man's Sky coming out. And when they release No Man's Sky, my theory is that they are not going to have it online at all, because they're going to work on use it to try to build back up their public image, their perception, and they're going to make sure it's the highest quality game there is, so that when they release Elder Scrolls 6, when they announce it, they can basically say, hey, remember how great we did No Man's Sky? Remember how great we got the multiplayer working? Now we're going to put them together into Elder Scrolls 6.
I thought No Man's Sky was already out.
I think he's talking about
Starfield. Yeah, I misspoke. Starfield.
Oh,
Starfield. My bad.
Starfield.
I got the two confused. I got the two confused. My bad.
I knew what you meant.
They haven't really
the tinfoil,
released
the tinfoil.
Yeah, the tinfoil. Yeah.
It gets hot in there with all the,
with his crazy crackpot theories. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that.
The lights are making it hot with this tinfoil.
It was slowly cooking you from the inside.
Baked potato.
It's like when you wrap a banana in tinfoil and put it on a barbecue. There you go. That's what we're doing to you. But that's just one of your crackpot theories. What do you think is your biggest crackpot theory that you've got for us?
Alright, so you guys want to
you want to run that by us again? You keep cutting out.
Working now?
Yeah, there we go.
Can you hear me now? Alright, so I am firmly under the impression that Bethesda does not want to stop duping. They just want to control it.
They never fix those?
I'm pretty sure at the minute there isn't a duping method, is there?
No, I know.
I mean,
well, that's because they decided that there was enough of it for now.
Oh, so what you're saying is they're regulating the duping by turning it off and on at specific points.
Exactly.
That doesn't make sense.
All right.
Which is why it's a crackpot theory.
Exactly. There you go. It never makes sense.
Walk us through this controlling the duping that Bethesda is doing, because they don't want to get rid of it, but they just secretly want to control it. What's your evidence? What's your proof? What's your theory?
Evidence? You want evidence? If I had evidence, it wouldn't be a conspiracy theory. Come on.
Yeah, true. So come on, lay it down for us, step by step.
So this came to my mind after the most recent, duping shenanigans
Which was?
Which was when the player vending was introduced and the duping method involving the White Springs waiters was reintroduced.
Right. Yes, I remember that briefly.
So it's really all based around, you know, what was going on in the game at that time, what Bethesda has said, and then what happened. And if you think about it this way, I feel like it makes sense. So I find it a little bit too much of a coincidence that Bethesda's going to release a patch that's going to add player vending. In the patch notes, they will say that there will be a 10% tax to, quote-unquote, maintain a healthy in-game economy. Meaning we want to take caps out of the game.
Yeah, okay, following you so far.
So as soon as that patch is done downloading, very shortly after, there's another duping method that takes lots of caps out of the game. So there's one.
Right, okay.
Now, if they want to, we're going to go back to they want to maintain a healthy in-game economy. I don't know how active anyone listening to this has been on any of the markets online or whatever, but
I tried to stay away from them.
Yeah, they're. Excuse me.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. It sounds like your brain's slowly melting, even though it's just some pans falling in the background.
Yeah. There you go. That's it. Well, so if you were on any of those markets around that time, you would have seen that caps were worthless. That there was no value at all. If you wanted anything, you had to already have something of, you know, the highest tier, and there was no buying your way into this tier. And it was all just dupers or people that had bought from dupers at one point trading shit.
Right.
You know,
okay.
you could have 5 characters with max caps and then still not be able to buy what you wanted because no one wanted caps.
Right, so yeah, so it was kind of like, you know, when people have got too much of something, in real life, you know, the cost of it drops immensely. Yeah, right, okay. So what, you think Bethesda was behind this, or?
Well, I'd find it very, very interesting.
Interesting,
and
suspicious.
Right, suspicious how suddenly this new duping, this old duping method that had already been patched out, it comes back, and within 12 hours, every single one of those guns that were trade only can be bought with caps.
See, but I don't get how that would. I don't get. I'm actually trying to wrap my head around it. So, Bethesda patches these duping packs, right? They patch the dupes, and you know the price of things goes down. Yeah, they patch it, price goes down. Am I correct on that so far?
No. When they patch the dupes, then more of them are not being made, so it creates scarcity, and the price goes up to the point where they're worth more than any amount of caps.
Shoot, at one point I would be able to sell my 2-shot explosive lever for about 90,000 caps, which I would need close to what, like 4 or 5 characters just to do the transaction.
Yeah.
Why? What's the max cap limit?
25,000.
Really? That it?
Yeah. You max out at
can make that in
25,000
like
caps.
a day.
I know, it's really dumb.
That is dumb. Right, so Bethesda patches out a dupe because people have duped enough stuff that this in-game economy can kind of go for a bit, and then when it stagnates, they put the dupes back in by accident, in air quotes?
I don't think that this is something that was planned from the very beginning. It wasn't a long game thing. It was, you know, the duping was there, the damage had been done, and then someone got the idea of, hey, all these things are out there that no one can get. Why don't we let people be able to get them? Hey, here's this duping method that we already took care of. You know, if we just let them do this for a little bit longer, then it'll take all of their caps, so then the ones doing it will want caps again, and it will put enough out there to where people can buy in, and it's essentially taking away from the
from the players.
No, it's taking the this tinfoil is frying my brain. It's taking the biggest benefit away from the exploiters. It's a cap sync that is only a cap sync if you are one of the ones that are creating a need for a cap sync.
I was going to say, it sounds more like Bethesda is punishing. If Bethesda's doing it, it sounds like they're either taxing like putting an in-game tax on the stuff that people who have duped. Basically, they're now being taxed for duping, or it sounds more like a punishment that they are putting upon the dupers because the duping and breaking the game
for buying the duped items.
Yeah, so it sounds like they're almost becoming this weird Batman-esque kind of So that on that one, it doesn't sound too bad.
Batman. We're all Batman.
But yeah,
right?
but I mean, it doesn't sound as bad. I mean, sure, I think every now and then a company that has a game out where duping is a thing will. Excuse me, yawning. Sorry, it's early morning. Yeah, it sounds like it's a good thing because if you think about it, right, turning off and on duping adds this thing into the game. So when your game stagnates a little bit, when people have done everything they can do, and the only thing they've really got left to do is a bit of farming to try and get that one gun, but they can only do it so much. And when that one person gets the gun, he is like the whole, I'm going to dupe it so I can sell it to people. Sure, I'll make a bit of money, but they will also get the weapon they're looking for. It sounds like that happens, and then Bethesda realizes, do you know what? You've gone a little bit too far. Let's turn duping off. So they turn duping off, and then the game will stagnate a little bit again, and they'll be like, right, let's turn duping back on again, and it's kind of like this weird up and down kind of sine wave almost that they're trying to do to try and keep people interested in Fallout a little bit, but at the same time applying a punishment upon the people who dupe, even though technically Bethesda has gone, here's some crack cocaine, do this crack cocaine, and then the people do the crack cocaine and they go, no, don't do the crack cocaine, that's very bad, and then like 20 minutes later they come back and go, here's some more crack cocaine, don't do it, and then you just do it and they're like, no, bad, don't, and it sounds like they're just taking the piss a little bit if they are doing it.
Hey, there's a reason I call them crazy conspiracy theories, because I don't need them to make sense if I call them that.
Yeah, no, that's true. Whereas I, on the other spectrum of this, trying to make any possible fucking sense out of it for the people at home, I guess. It's like you bust out this theory, and then I sit here and I'm like, wait a minute, they could be doing this, they could be doing that, they might not be doing it. And my brain slowly implodes. It's fun. I love it. It's making me crazy.
Yeah, well, that's the purpose of it all. Melt brains. Put on a hat. Come on, join the party.
Well, before we go to audience questions and then to the wrap-up, do you have any more interesting theories about Bethesda?
That's all I've got for now, and I've actually got to run. This the little one here is getting pretty crazy.
Right. Well, really quickly, any questions from the audience about anything that's possibly occurred tonight? Yes? No? Because I do have a question prepared by one of my subscribers, and he asks, and I'm glad I wrote this down, else I would probably not remember it. But he says, do you think the game is getting easier, and how can we make the game harder? I think the game is getting easy. Now, in his question, he did allude to the fact, you know, things about legendaries and all this kind of stuff, basically making it so we can one-shot, you know, we can take these weapons and one-shot people and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, it is probably making it easier, but I can't really think of a way to make it harder. Maybe implement a better, well, not a better combat system, but a tougher combat system. So when you're using legendary weapons, you take a slight buff. Maybe I don't know. I really don't know on that one. I hope I've answered that to the best of my abilities. And I'm checking Twitch, and there is no questions on Twitch. So is there any left?
I have
Red,
something
to
add.
Go on.
I don't really think it's getting easier. I just think we're getting so used to it and good at it.
Right.
Like,
so instead of the game getting easy, you think we're just getting better.
Is really helpful. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we're all working together.
Yeah.
In the beginning, none of us, knew each other, and we're all helping each other out. Like, we're the best community online. And so.
Yeah. No, that is true. I mean, you run PKO. Well, you run PKO with a bunch of people, which is basically an entire thing dedicated to helping people in games. So yeah, I guess instead of it getting harder, it's kind of backfired on Bethesda a little bit, where they thought, yeah, you'll all be going ham on each other and fighting each other and all that kind of stuff. Whereas really, we've just turned into these really nice Samaritans.
Hey, even if some of us are doing bad things by duping, like, they're still helping out in their own fucked up way.
Well, that's another
doing
thing.
Bad things by duping, they're really just spreading love to more of the people, so more people can have great weapons.
It's really.
And
I don't understand why people get mad.
I'm not a duper. I have never duped, but you know what? I support them.
Yeah,
I've never duped intentionally.
Well, see, to me, some of those people aren't bad. I mean, if somebody can never find what they need, this is actually a way where they will be able to,
Yeah, and you know what? As the baby chimes in with some interesting factoids, I think that will be it for tonight. A shorter episode than normal, but that is down to the fact that our guest has a child that needs looking after, and the fact that it's almost 2 in the morning for me. I think it's late. Yeah, it's 1:30 in the morning, so that's pretty interesting. But we have had some interesting little tidbits pop up on today's episode. Do you know what? You've actually made me think about some of the stuff there today, DD. So, yeah, I don't know. I might be questioning my own sanity now.
That's the goal. If you're questioning your own sanity, then that means that I have done my job.
Yeah, that is definitely the goal. So, though we've just literally had a couple of people join us on Twitch, I'm afraid to say this, ladies and gentlemen, but that is the end of today's episode. So, obviously, thanks to Double D over there for coming on and talking to us about his crackpot theories, and thank you, Red, for your interesting insight on the question that was given to us, and also the person who gave us the question. Thank you for the question. But that is it. So, thank you for coming along. Make sure to join in next week, where we'll be talking about everything and anything Fallout. But until then, I've been Captain Beardy, he's been Double D, you've been my audience, and that's the end.